payment session. It should take just about an hour. So hopefully now you can hear me. So before we get going, just a few little pointers for you. So due to the significant number of people on tonight, we are running this session as a live event. Now, that part of this live event means that we can't see you and we can't hear you, but it doesn't mean we don't want your questions. So please, if you do have a question, just pop them in the Q&A section. You should see it on the right-hand side of your screen. And if you want to put them in at any time, please do, and we will do our best to make sure they are answered. If you're struggling to see the screen, and this will probably be more relevant towards the back end of this session when we look at the demonstration of the app, where the screen's a little bit smaller, you can use full screen mode. So in the bottom right-hand corner of your screen, you should see two opposing arrows. Give those a tap. It should take you to full screen mode, especially if you're watching on a tablet or mobile device. And finally, this session is recorded, and you can access that after the session via the link you've used to join tonight. So if you want to share that with other people within your club or the coaches that you know, or whoever you want to share it with, you're more than welcome to pass the link on after the meeting, and they can have a look and go through the whole session. Just be aware that the first 15 minutes or so will be just complete silence, as soon as I've gone live tonight with the welcome screen, it starts recording, unfortunately. But if you head to our knowledge base, which I'll come on to at the very back end of this session, there is already a recording of our previous session, which does take exactly through I'm going through tonight, and that does have the 15 minutes missing off the front. So in terms of this evening, excuse me, what we're going to look at, so we're going to look at why we should take payments online. Obviously, there's plenty of different options out there for you. And we are just one of those options that you potentially would like to choose. So we'll go through why just take payments online in general, look at PayPal's transaction fees. We aren't going to hide anything from you. PayPal do charge a small fee per transaction. It's important that you understand that. Then my colleague Claire's going to take you through how to set up the whole of the PayPal account / set up your payment structures. And then I'm going to take you through how to make and monitor payments within the app. And finally, we will cover the support. My name's Sam Yates. I'm part of the technology adoption team at the FA. I am joined tonight by Claire Davidson, who is the technology adoption manager. So moving to online payments.
I would say that Matchday has definitely improved my life. I was working 6 days a week. These extra resources and things has freed up time for my coaches. If you want to improve efficiency, if you want to improve well-being for yourself and your coaches, if you want to just create yourself a little bit of free time, then I would recommend the Matchday app.
So that was Lucy from Ashburton Town. I do apologise if your sound went for about 10 or 15 seconds or so then. I'm not sure what happened, but hopefully you got the gist. Lucy was looking for something to save her time that can open up some more potential to run more football sessions. And in the end, switching to Matchday app saved her at least 2 hours a week, which meant she's now able to run an extra team. So obviously, she's seen a massive benefit to using Matchday and Matchday payments. So hopefully you can see now that it's not just us that are going to tell you some positive stories potentially, but there's also some really positive stories out and about across the grassroots landscape. So in terms of going cashless, obviously we're now in a pretty much new situation where we are looking to minimize human contact wherever we go, really, not just in football, but in life in general. And being able to take your payments online is a really good and easy way to make less human contact. And hopefully you can see that adhering to the new guidance that's recently been launched, the ability to not have to hand over cash from person to person is hopefully going to be a positive for everybody involved. In terms of Matchday and Matchday specifically, give me one integrated point for your football administration. Matchday is very much built to be the coaching tool, so for managers and for coaches to be able to do all their Matchday admin, whether that be pre-match, post-match, and also during the game. But in terms of from a club perspective, being able to plug in the payment side of this alleviates some of the pressure that potentially has been put on club committees, and also shares it around a little bit with the managers, with the coaches who are in there anyway, because that's where they're doing their Matchday admin. But also they can now start to monitor their payments from their players, and if someone is starting to maybe lag behind, they can hopefully G them up and say, please make sure that your payments are coming through. We don't want to see you banned as a player, etc. From a club perspective, because you haven't paid your fees. And also you can make those early interventions as well, because obviously in the current climate there's some tough situations out there, and the more we can do to help, obviously the better. So hopefully alleviate some of the pressure points you might be able to see in the future. Already over 300,000 parents or carers already within whole game system are already match day ready, which is a huge amount, and it's about 85% of the adult players within affiliated football are also match day ready. Now, being match day ready is quite simple, i.e., does my club register my players within whole game system? And secondly, if I want to use payments by match to match, so pay as you play almost, I need my league to have integrated whole game system and full time together. So basically sharing the data between the two. Now that's about 75% of leagues that use our full time system. So you hopefully can see that there's already loads of people out there who can use match day payments with no setup at all, because you've already done it using your player registration process within your clubs. Especially with Matchday, you can easily track your own team's payments. So I will demonstrate this later on. But from a coaching perspective, I know from my personal view, using it as a coach with an under-15s team coming up to this year, under-14s last season, it's been dead easy to monitor the payments coming from my players. And I have been able to identify when a couple of players have been, so we say, slightly behind the payment date that we would advise. And I've been able to make contact with those and ensure they've been those payments have been paid before the club have even clocked on that there is that someone hasn't paid. So it's made my life a little bit easier for my club secretary. I've had far less pressure, and also I think my parents have also felt a bit better about it, because they've not had the pressure on the club either to ensure that payments were taken on time. A big thing is reduce admin time. A lot of what we are trying to build and trying to achieve through our technology is to reduce the admin time, reduce that time it's taken. So we said the stuff we less like to do, because obviously we want to be out there on the green stuff or on the courts if we're in futsal, trying to make sure that we are making the best environment for our players, and also trying to see results, especially in the more competitive age groups, etc. So the less time we can do with our administration, and the less time and less money we can spend on fines from not getting it correct, is going to be a better world in my place. I've known in 2 years of using Matchday now, I've not had one incomplete match return or late match return, which has saved my bank account a few pounds, shall we say, because my admin is not the best at the best of times, but Matchday has been a big saver from my perspective. Also, our partners that we are with Matchday Payments is PayPal. They did commission some research, and they found that about 40% of match fees go missing. What we are hoping to do within Matchday is ensure that 40% is actually captured, and that's minimised as much as we possibly can. And in an ideal world, we don't lose any payments, especially now we are heading into a state where some clubs are very much struggling to get that money in that we would normally have to at least get the season started. So if we can reduce lost payments, that's even better going forwards. And finally, it's far more secure to have payments being taken online than to have your, let's say, a box at the side of the pitch inside a bag with all this change in, or in your pockets as well. I don't know if you ever tried to run the line with a pocket full of change, from like £3 worth of all your players. It can add a fair few pounds, if you will, in weight to yourself when you're trying to run or trying to coach, and it's not overly comfortable either, but it's not overly secure. So if you put in your bag at the side of a pitch, obviously anyone can walk past and take that and do what they want with it. So being able to take those payments online is just that little bit more secure. So the big question, and we'll get it straight out into the open, is how much will it cost my club? Now, PayPal's transaction fee is 1.4% plus 20p per transaction. So if you pay once a year, so an annual fee, maybe £100, you're only paying that 1.4% plus 20p just once. If, like my club, you do it on a monthly fee, so we do charge £10 a month. Obviously, per person, 1.4% plus 20p is taken out to what is paid into my club. Obviously, the player doesn't have any hiking fees or doesn't lose anything. It's taken from the club, not the player. What some clubs have done is just raise their club fees by 1.4% plus 20p to negate that transaction fee. But I can, from personal experience, say that using Matchday and using PayPal's payments through Matchday has saved so much time. And for the first time ever, we only lost a tenner in match fees this year, as opposed to the season before where we lost just over 1,800 quid. So it's from our perspective, it's more than paid for itself, that 1.4% plus 20p per transaction. So it's less. I wouldn't say it was a barrier. It's just to be aware of that is an option. That is the fee that PayPal use if you are to use their functionality. So what we want to do now is really show you how easy it is and how quick it is to set up your account and link it, and then also how easy it is to create as many flexible payment structures as you might need within your club. So I'm guessing you're all bored of my voice by now, so I'm going to hand over to Claire, and Claire's going to take you through how to set up your PayPal through whole game system and how to create your payment structures.
Excellent, thank you very much, Sam, and hello everybody. Okay, so I'm going to take you through a couple of things tonight. So we're going to look at how you set up your PayPal account within the whole game system, and then we'll move on and have a look at the payment portal itself, and then how you set up your payments and stuff. So first thing you need to do, access whole game using your email and password. So I'm just going to sign in as normal. Hopefully this is bread and butter for everybody. Everybody goes into the whole game system. She says, you'll have to bear with me, this is a live demo and you can guarantee something will go wrong. And there we go. There's the first thing. So bear with me 1 second. Let me get to the whole game system. I'll try and, oh, here we go. It's letting us in now. Okay, so I'm logged into the whole game system. So who can access the financial information? So you've got your chair, your secretary and your treasurer can access and set up a PayPal account in your club within the whole game system. So all I need to do is log in as either a chair, secretary or treasurer, and down the left hand side here you can see a finance tab. Now I'm just going to jump into our test club because this one doesn't have an account set up. So I've gone into finance. For those with eagle eyes, you might notice that there's not a finance tab on here just because it's a test club, but look exactly the same. You've got your club invoices here, but what we're interested in is Matchday PayPal setup. Now, all the information that you need to set up an account and get your payments up and running is available here. Now, this is an excellent video taking you through step by step how to do things. Now, I'm not going to play the video now just because we're going to walk through the process together now, but of course it's there if you want to look at it when you're going to set up your payments. You can either set up a current PayPal business account or you can create a new PayPal account. And just let me just get rid of Sam at the bottom there. So you've got a couple of options here, but you've got a blue create account button. What I do want to stress, and I really want to drive it home because there is a big difference with the type of account that you set up. So If your club has 8 teams or less, then you need to select sole trader as your account type. 8 teams or less, sole trader. If you've got 9 or more teams, you'll need to set up as a not-for-profit organisation. So that will be the account type when you're trying to create the account. It's one of the most important steps, just because the journey that it takes you through just differs ever so slightly, depending on how many teams that you've got in your club. It's just the type of documents and how many documents that you need to upload. But yeah, please try and be careful when it comes to setting up. But all you need to do is click on the blue create account, and it'll just bring a warning about data protection and the privacy policy, advising that you're given information. So it'll take us directly into PayPal. Just going to accept the cookies on there, and all you need to do as a club is put in the club PayPal business account, or the club email, should I say, that you're going to link to, and the country and region, and just click on next, and it'll take you through the full process. Now, I'm not going to do it here because obviously we're just in a test environment, but it is a fairly straightforward process, and then PayPal will set up your business account on your behalf. Once all that's gone through, if I just go back to the original one, Club A4, and I go into the Finance tab, this time when I go into Matchday PayPal setup, you can see it's changed ever so slightly now. I've no longer got that create account button, but I can see the PayPal details have now been added. Now, it does give you a merchant ID on here. This is just basically a reference that links your whole game system to your PayPal account. Again, all the video, all the information on here is exactly the same, but you will also see a link to set up your club payments. So that's all you need to do in the whole game system for now. Get your PayPal account set up. There is frequently asked questions under here if you get stuck, but as I say, maybe have a look at the video. It's quite self-explanatory on there. So if I go to the setup club payments, what this will do is take me through to the payments portal. So I'm just going to log out just so I can show you what it looks like. And if we log in using, again, either your email address and password or your FAN and password, I can log in. It's got exactly the same restrictions on as whole game system had. So as a club treasurer, secretary and chair, you can access the payment portal. Your team managers will only have access to their own teams via the app. So please don't worry, as a club, there's only you can get access to this information to set up your payments. So you can see the first thing here, I'm logged in as the club treasurer. Now if I click enter, I shall be taken to sort of a holding a welcome screen to the payments portal. So clicking on let's go will just take me to the first step, so our help screen. Basically this takes us through every stage of the process. Again, I'm not going to labour on this too much, but there's some great videos in here and guides as well. But I'm going to take you through every step of the process. But if you forget anything or something I say doesn't make sense, then please do use the help screens, because the videos in here are really clear and easy to follow, unlike me sometimes. But let's have a look at the setup. Okay, so in setup you've got a couple of options here. So you can either set up pay as you play payments or annual fees, and I know Sam mentioned before that he does direct debits, so I'll show you how to set up both, but we'll just start on pay as you play because it's the first one we've come to, and you can see I already have a couple of options set up in here, but we'll go from scratch and let's set up a brand new match fee. First question, what do you want to call it? So Please bear in mind that this information will be passed to the team manager and to the parents. So try and make it as descriptive as you want or as you can, because they will see this information just so you know they know what this payment is for. So I'm going to set up a payment for my adult teams for this season. So put in the name. If I click on next, do I want to include any discounted rates? So it might be that I give discount for students, so I can include discount rates, and I can also include half game fees if I want to. So, you know, if you've got, you know, if you bring on sub halfway through, you might only want to charge them half game fees, so you can include that if you want. In this example, we'll just include discounted rates. So how much do I want to charge? So a full game fee, I'm just going to say is £10. How much will I charge for discount? Let's go with £8. And it's as simple as that. So I save that match fee back of the net. So that will now show up. I'm just going to go back into setup and I'll show you a little bit later on how you'll apply it to teams. So you can see now that play payment has now been set up, and it's shown my discounted rate. Full game £10, discounted game £8. So nice and simple. You've also got the option of your annual fees. Very, very similar setup, just a few more questions in here. Again, you will have a list of all of the payment structures that you've already set up. But again, let's go and set up a brand new one. What we're going to call this, probably the most common, I would say, are registration fees. So let's set up a registration fee for my mini soccer teams. I'm just going to charge them all the mini soccer teams the same price. So do I want to do it as a one-off fee? So it might be, I don't know, something like you might be selling club caps or something like that. So you could set it as a one-off fee and make a charge for that, or you can set up a monthly fee. So let's go with a monthly fee for now. So how much do I want to charge? Now I know I can understand the writing is tiny on here and it's in a ridiculous colour that you can't see, but what this is asking here is how much your monthly fee will be as opposed to your whole amount. So if you're setting up an instalment or monthly fee, remember to set the value you want to be charged each month and not the total value. Otherwise you'll have some very irate players or parents if you try to charge them £100 every month. But let's just go say, as I mentioned before, they get charged £10 a month, so we'll go with £10. Again, you get the option of offering a discounted amount. Let's just say as a club that if they've got a sibling already playing in the club, you might want to charge just half price, so we can put in a discounted amount there if you want. Click on next. Due date for the payment, so when do you want the first payment to come out? Okay, just say we're starting 31st of August 2020. And how many instalments? When I want to charge £100 in total, my fee is £10, so I want 10 instalments. Now, the payment portal won't let you take payments over the following season. So, you know, if you're not starting your payments until January, you will only be able to take payments until May or June actually when the season ends. So it will physically stop you from adding too many instalments in there. So in this case, 10 instalments. And you have the option here to add comments. Again, this is something that will be shown to the manager or the players and parents in the Matchday app if you do put any comments in there. If I'm happy with that, just click on next and I can save this annual fee. Nearly there. Check all your details and I'm just going to save it. Great, so now I've got the option to assign the fee to players. So if I just go back to the screen You can see I'm still on the annual fees. I've got my registration fee for mini soccer, and I can assign it to whichever players that I want to. Now I've got a couple of options here, so I can assign it to the whole club, but as I've got adult teams and mini soccer teams, I don't want to do that. But let's just assign it to the under 9s for now. So I've clicked on the team I want to assign, and I can apply that fee there. Now what it does, it'll automatically default to charge them all the standard fee, which is the £10. But I can go into my players individually and select who's applicable, who's applicable to a discount. So let's go with that. So yes for now. So you can see all of the players that I've got registered for my club. We're not very good with these names, but this is the player's name. And it happens that these are twins, so I only want to charge one full fee, and I'll charge the second a discounted fee. So I'll click on save, and it tells me that the payments will be due. The first payment's due on the 31st of August when I set that for. Excellent, so got it. And that's how you set up your annual fees and apply your payments to it. Again, I can go into any fee, assign the players, look for a team, and apply them to the individual teams. So it's very much you as a club decide how much and who you want to charge. You can set up as many different payment options as you need. Before I obviously showed you the pay as you play, but to set up payments on the pay as you play, you need to be in my teams. Now, this will give you a list of teams that you've got it set up in your whole game system. However, please be aware that the information that is being entered in here is data that's been entered into full time. So if you've got no fixtures set up in full time, or your league has not yet been integrated, you won't see your teams here. So if in any doubt or your teams are missing, then please do get in touch with your league, try and find out when they're going to be integrated or when they're setting up fixtures, so it'll give you the opportunity to set up as your pay as you play if you want to go down that route. To do this, all I'm going to do is select a team just by clicking on the team down the left hand side, and you can see I don't have any match fees set up at this point in time, but I want to apply one. It's got a list of all the match fees that I had set up, so you can see the one that I set up earlier, adult 2020. If I click on confirm, it gives me the option to have a look at the players and apply any discounts in there. So once again, it will always default to your standard fee, which I think I put in £10 anyway. But in here, you can either, if you've applied one, allow a discounted fee. So let's just say Cody is a student, so I'm allowing him a £2 discount. I can just go through and select whichever players I want to apply the discounted rate to, and this can be changed at any time. You might just notice there that you've also got the option to exempt players from fees altogether. I don't know, for whatever reason you might need to exempt players from fees, so you do have that option there. It might be that they're out long-term injured, so you can do so within there. But if you need for monthly payments, you allocate your teams and payments within the setup. For pay as you play, this is arranged through the My Teams. The final thing that I want to show you is the reports. Now, obviously, we haven't got a great deal of any payments in, for that matter, because we haven't played any football yet this season. But the payments report section can be really, really useful. So at the top here, this is exactly what all of your club chair, treasurer, secretary, they'll see all of this information, and it gives you information about every single one of your teams. So you can tell how much you expected in. So in total, we've requested so far £521 worth of fees in. It can be split down into cash. So if your team managers accept cash on the day, they can record that in the Matchday app, and I'm sure Sam's going to show you that. It records the income that came in via PayPal, and then it will show you any outstanding amount. So it's clear, you know, nice, visible, clear, straightforward, and straight away to see how much you're outstanding, how much you expected in, and what came in via what method. It once again splits down into fee types, so you can have a look at your annual fees and your pay as you play. These will be separated out. It's not ideal that we can't show you, you know, some payments haven't came in, but what I will show you in is just a previous season. It does give you the option to download a report on your fees. So you can download a CSV report on your annual fees, or for your pay as you play, you can actually select individual teams to see who you're still expecting money in. But let's just go ahead and download a CSV report, just so I can show you what it looks like. So again, this is probably not the best report, but it gives you a list of all your players, exactly how much your player names, and what type of fee it was, you know, how many instalments, how much outstanding, and when the payment was due, etc. But all I would recommend is that once you've set up your payments and they're starting to come in, do get a look at the reports, because they are really useful. There is a little information hover here. If you've got any questions, or, you know, any queries about the reports, there is some explanations on here as to what information that you can get. Again, there is some information on the help setup about the reports if you've got any questions on how to run them. But I think, Sam, that might be me having covered everything.
Excellent, thank you very much. Just jump back with the slide deck, so hopefully you can see that now. So what Claire's just taking you through is the where to set up. So that is the whole game finance tab, and some of the key points there. Ensure you're choosing the right account. As you can see on the right hand side in that screenshot, you've got the 8 teams or less, or 9 teams or more.
I don't think we're getting the presentation yet.
Bear with me. Let me just try it and share again. These things are sent to try you every so often. Is that better?
That's much better. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you very much. So ensure you're choosing the right account, and there's the screenshot now on the right hand side. So you've got your 8 teams or less, or your 9 teams or more. And if you already have a PayPal account, that's absolutely fine. There's no setup involved. It's just basically a linking process. Then when we go through the payments portal, hopefully you've seen how easy and straightforward it is to apply, either as a one-off or as a mix, or however you need to do it as your payment structure in your club, your annual fees, your monthly fees, or your pay to play, so you pay per match fees as well. Hopefully you saw as well that you can select different discounts for individuals. So as Claire mentioned, you might have a student discount or a discount for players who have, or siblings. So if you might have 2 or 3 kids from the same family, they may pay a smaller fee. And finally, you can view the payments from a club level, from the team, the whole club, or from the individual as well. So if you do need to really drill down into one person and see their payment structures, you can do that at any time. And just to reiterate what Claire said, who has access to the payments portal? That is your chair, your secretary, and your treasurer. Nobody else does. And if in terms of the app, so this is away from the payments portal, and I'm about to demonstrate what the app shows and looks like. That's not the chair, secretary, or treasurer. None of them will have access. Only those who are designated as a manager, a coach, or assistant manager or coach will have access to the Matchday app and the payments functionality within that. So it's really worth just understanding that the payments portal and the Matchday app have 2 different access levels in terms of who can access and process payments, etc., etc. So this is the standard VAR part. So in theory, we are going to now ask any questions that have come through so far. So I think there's been about 5, which I'll ask to Claire just to go through. And then don't worry if you haven't got your questions in already, there is another VAR review after the demonstration of the app. But Claire, a couple of questions for you, and a nice easy one to start with. Along with the treasurer, we administer all sign-on fees. Will we have to make ourselves managers in a whole game system of all our teams to see the incoming payments?
No. As a club, you will, as a club chair, treasurer, secretary, you'll have access to the payment portal, and that's where you'll see all the payments coming in. So your managers don't get access to that, the managers don't get access to the app, but you, as a club, can see all of that information and the payments coming in on the payments portal.
Excellent. If we have PayPal issues or any issues in general, who should we contact?
I would recommend going to Grassroots Technology at thefa.com. They've got direct line into PayPal, so they can get their issue resolved pretty quickly on your behalf. So any payment issues, speak to Grassroots Technology, and Jack and the gang look at that.
Fabulous. My team play mini and youth soccer, and we used to pay cash. Does this mean that when our league commences in September, we have to pay this online per week or on a monthly basis?
That's entirely up to you as a club. Sorry, if you're a team, that's up to your club. So your club will decide, they can continue to make cash payments, no problem at all. So it's up to you. You can create your pay per week. You can create monthly fees or one-off fees as a club. So yeah, don't worry about it. You can still pay in cash if they don't wish to set up an account. Fabulous.
If some players pay a sign-on fee and then a monthly fee, do we need to apply two payment profiles?
Yes, particularly if absolutely. If you're different payments. So if you charge £20 for sign-on and then £10 per month, yeah, just set up two different payment structures, and you can apply in both.
Fantastic. My players only pay if they play, and there is a reduced fee if they come on as a substitute. How does this work?
Actually, that's a great point, and it's something that I should have covered, to be honest. Because the pay-as-you-play fees are taken directly from data that's been put into full time. So if a manager confirms in his match sheet that, I don't know, Joey's played a full game, he's going to be charged full match fee. But if he confirms that he's been brought on as a sub, he's only going to be charged for half game. So it is really important that as a team manager, that they add the substitutes on before they submit the match reports in via the Matchday app. But yeah, absolutely. If your club allows half game fees, then yeah, make sure you just add them as a sub.
Perfect. Good question from Sue. Can we pay referees electronically?
Sadly not. This is not there. However, I know it's actually, you might have a little bit more information, Sam. It's been mentioned pretty much on every webinar that we've ever done. So it is something that we'll definitely look at, but not at the moment, but watch this space.
Yeah, just about on the back of that, we are actively now looking as to how we can easily ensure this happens, especially in this now post-COVID lockdown world, how we can minimise that payments of cash between people. So great question, Sue. Another one from Natasha, which I'm going to then answer because it's coming later in the presentation, which is how do parents set up direct debits? So Natasha, watch this space. I will cover that in just about 10 minutes time, if not less. Another question for you, Claire. Can we grant access to the payment portal to somebody outside of the chairman, treasurer and secretary?
No, that isn't possible at the moment. However, you can have assistant secretaries, and Sam, correct me if I'm wrong, but assistant secretaries will still have access to the finance tab. So, sorry, you're shown on here as anonymous, but maybe that's something you could think about. So you can put an assistant secretary down for your club. It will mean that they've got access to all of the data within the whole game system, so all of the player information, but it is an option for you.
Fab. And the last one for now, do players have to have their own individual PayPal accounts to use this?
Yes and no. It is much easier if you've got a PayPal account, or you can set a PayPal account up, because it remembers all the information. You can just, pay within a click of a button. You can, or players can, use guest login. But it will, if you use guest login and you're paying every week, then you will have to continuously keep entering your details every week. So easier if you've got a PayPal account. It's unbelievable how many people already have, millions upon millions. But no, it isn't necessary to have a PayPal account. You can sign in, use the guest checkout, should I say, or you can slip in cash if you need to.
Brilliant, perfect. And that is the end of the questions for now. So we can cover any more questions that come in the next little Q&A session. So back to the slide deck. So I'm just going to move on. What I am going to do right now actually is jump out of the slide deck and jump to my phone. So do be aware that whilst I'm doing this, you may see a screen that says the live event will continue shortly. That's just while I jump across to my mobile device. So hopefully now you can see this is the first screen you see when you come into Matchday. So this is my next available fixture, which is currently kicking off on the 2nd of August in 11 days. So anyone who comes to Matchday app at the moment will see this is the first screen. If you've got no fixtures coming up, it'll just say you are awaiting fixtures from your league, so don't worry about that. What we are going to go through right now, though, is the payments functionality. So you can see across the bottom, I have a little menu there. So we've got match view, fixtures, results, payments, and accounts. I'm just going to jump into payments to start with. Now, because I'm the manager, I've got more options here than I would have as a player, and I'll show you what a player sees in just a second. If you need to if you've got more than one role, you need to double check that you're in the right place as the right role. If you go into your account section on the right hand side, you can see just under the word Matchday, it has got my role as their manager. And where it says view other teams below that, that is currently my player role, and I'll show you that in just one moment. I'm going to go back into the payment center, and what I'm going to go into first is the bottom one, which is annual fees. So when I tap annual fees, what that will load up is all the different billing plans or the different payment structures that you have set up, as Claire's just shown you, that are assigned to players within my team. So currently I've got, I think it's 3. So I've got Fresh at the top, I have another Fresh at the bottom, and in the middle I've got JP Test 2. So as a manager, I can see exactly what is being applied to my teams, and if I want it to make sure that I understand which players are paying these billing or these payment structures, I can click on View Details, and what that will do is that will tell me exactly those players that have been assigned that payment structure. So if they have been assigned a discounted fee, this is where you could find out who has been discounted or if they've been exempt, etc. So you can see right here that Mason Smith has got a payment, and by tapping on him, and this is the same for wherever I am within the app, within the payments portal, within the payments part of the app, I can, if I tap on the person, I can mark them as paid by cash. So there may be people out there or players within your club who may rock up on a maybe a Saturday, but they can only play once every so often, so it's not worth billing them every month, and they might just pay you in cash. So I could then type in exactly what they've paid me, and the reason why you type in what they've paid you is because obviously we are fully aware that if you are saying paid £9, someone might only come with a £5. So I could say they've only paid £5, not 95, but £5, and I can mark that as paid by cash. So you can see there now, Mason Smith has partially paid the £9 fee of £5 and has not paid £4. That would now reflect in the player's app as well. So if the player then logged into the app, they would no longer see that £9 is outstanding, but they just need to pay £4. So that if they wanted to part pay in cash and part pay in online, obviously they can do that through that section. So that's the annual fees, and that's the different ones that have been set throughout my team. The middle one is obviously pay as you play. So I'll tap on that, and these are the fixtures that are coming up in front of me or have been played already. So if I was to click on the 19th of July, you can see at the moment, actually, this is a bad example if I'm being honest with you. We have no match fee assigned for this current season. So obviously the season has just turned over, so we have not set one up yet. But if we set a pay as you play for some of our players, and again, we can do this individually. So again, the example I just gave of someone maybe from my experience, who works in the fire service, who couldn't commit to every Sunday. So she paid on a pay-as-you-play basis. I could assign just purely that one person to pay-as-you-play. And again, I could find out exactly who they are through this section. Also, what happens through here, as Claire alluded to right at the back end of her demonstration, is if I was to click on to July, once I have submitted my team sheet via full-time, it will then display in here. Now, what I can do then is select, or at least confirm, that the substitutes I submitted to my league is exactly what happened. So if I had set up a fee that's less if you are a substitute, whether you come on or off, that they would then be invoiced a smaller amount, or that discounted rate that you have set. So this way you can go and confirm that your substitutes are correct, and those who played a full game are also reflected within this team sheet. And once that's happened, and once I've done my results, I can click on collect payments, and that will then push through to my players app. If you want more information of how that works in terms of the going through to the end result and then clicking collect payments now, we do have a webinar tomorrow night, which takes us through the rest of the Matchday functionality, which includes that trigger point of pay-to-play basis. But what I'm really interested in this point is my team payments. So I'm back into the payment center at the bottom, and I'm going to click on team payments. Now, what that does is a really high level as a manager, I can now see exactly what my players owe. So no matter how many payment structures they've got added to them, no matter how many one-off fees they've been assigned, I can see exactly how much they owe. So at the moment, they've all been assigned a £10 signing on fee. And if I scroll down the page, you can see Mason in the middle has got that £23. So you can see from earlier where a part paid the £9, he has had a reduced fee. And if I tap on Mason, as I said earlier, we can really now drill down into the payments he owes. So he's got his £10 fee. His sign-on fee is the second one down, that's due by the 31st of July. Also at the very top, he's got his annual fee of £9, and then just below that, the partially paid one, as I marked as cash earlier, as the £5. You can see there that he now owes £4 for that. So it constantly adds up. It's constantly live. So as a manager, I've got a really high level, obvious view of who still owes money. And if I scroll to the very bottom, if anyone was up to date and fully paid, they would appear below the up to date banner there. Obviously, none of these players have paid their sign-on fee yet, so none of them are up to date. If I click on, for example, Cody Neal here, again, you can see I've got the £10 fee that he needs to pay for his sign-on fee. If I tap on that again, it takes me through to that annual fee from before. So I can see matching up from the annual fees you saw earlier. I can see exactly what it is and the comments. So you might have in there as a one-off fee in the comments that it might be a signing on fee, it might be a kit fee, or it might be a fine if you have got fines for maybe not turning up with clean boots, etc. You can put the details in there. And if I tap view details, again, I can see exactly who from my team has been assigned that payment structure. So me as a manager, I cannot hide anymore and say I wasn't aware that my players aren't paying their match fees. And also, I can have that almost arm around the shoulder and say, look, are you struggling? Can we help? Is there anything we can do? I notice you've not made your payments yet. I don't want the club to get on your back if you're going through hard times, etc. So a manager has that frontline view. And that, as Claire said earlier, is also available to view from the club chairperson, secretary, and the treasurer, and then his secretary assistants. They can monitor that through the payments portal. So it's not as if the manager can see parts of it and the secretary see the other part. You can all see the same. It's just the manager can just see what that manager, their team or teams, if they've got more than one, whereas the secretary can see everything via the payments portal, whether that's just a player, whether it's the team or the club as a whole. So that's how manager can monitor. I'm just going to go jump into the account section and switch to my players role. And you can see it looks a little bit different on that landing page. So at the top there, I've got I'm available. So I mark myself available. And again, if you want more information around how the wider functionality of the app works, you can log into our webinar tomorrow night, same time, same place. But I'm going to go to the payments fee, the payments section across the bottom again as a player. And again, I can look at annual fees, but at this time, it will only display to me as the player or the parent of the player from under 16, which payment structures have been assigned to me. So I can't see what's assigned to my team. I just see what's relevant to me. So in this instance, I can see I've been invoiced for just this one £10 sign-on fee, this one-off fee. I'm going to come out of annual fees, but this I'm going to go into my payments or your payments. So you can see at the moment, and this is a season by season. So at the end of the season, I might have maybe a full 10 months worth of payments if you go off what Claire demonstrated earlier, or I might just have that one-off fee if I'm only paying one fee per year. So really high level at the very top, I can see I currently paid nothing and I currently owe £10. So it's really easy to pick up that. You can see the little, so say piggy bank that's orange. That demonstrates to me that I have a partial paid fee. So where I just a few minutes ago part paid for Mason, I could see that I have a part payment that's gone through, and I've got to finish off and complete the payment should I need to. And on the far right hand side, the grey piggy bank is if I'm exempt. So it would be that there is a £10 fee, but I've been marked as exempt. And again, as a player, I can see that and have full visibility of it. Now, the main thing is, as a player or the parent of a player, I've come into payments, I've clicked on my payments, and I'm now going to click on the fee I want to pay. Because this is a one-off fee, I don't have the option to subscribe to it. So PayPal being an American business by trade, but a global business, they don't have what we'd call direct debits. In their world, it's called a subscription service. And I'm going to show you a video in just a second of how to set up the subscriptions as a player or as a parent of a player. But if I'm paying as a one-off, you can see there I've got the £10 and right next to it, I have the PayPal icon. So if I tap on the orange or yellow PayPal icon, you can see at the bottom now, I have my order summary. Now, if it's just like any other website in the world, or if you've ever used PayPal before, you can start to add things to your basket. So you might have a sign-on fee and your first month fee. You can pay them both at the same time without having to pay them individually. Again, we're trying to save time, amalgamate some of the processes into one, so it's a much more smoother, seamless process for the payer and the club as well from an administrative point of view. But in this instance, I've just got the one fee to pay, which is my sign-on fee. Obviously, we've not played a game yet. And now you can see at the bottom, I've either got pay with PayPal. So if I've got a PayPal account, I tap that. And if I've logged into my PayPal account on my phone, there's nothing more for me to do. PayPal will use their one-touch pay system in the background, and it will just run through within seconds and transfer that money from your PayPal account to the club's PayPal account. The other option, as Claire mentioned, is to pay with card. So what was referred to as guest checkout. So this incorporates Apple Pay, it incorporates Google Pay, it incorporates just typing in your credit or debit card details. And again, it's the same transaction fee from the club's perspective. I can just tap my details in there, click pay, and then you'll see that that £10 payment has been taken and there's no issues there. If a player tries to pay and the funds aren't there, they will have a declined message up front here. So it's not as if the player won't know that the payment's not gone through. They are surfaced it very quickly to say, hang on, there's been a problem. Please rectify it within PayPal, within your PayPal account, or please add a different card through guest checkout if they're using that functionality. What I could do then is monitor my own payments. If I go back a step back into my fees, I can then go back throughout the season. I've got my partially paid, I've got my paids, and I've got anything I've been exempt from. So I've got a full record of my payments throughout a season as a player. So it might be if I have been injured over Christmas and I've missed a couple of months, I might then try and flag up to the club and say, look, I've paid you. You can physically see it. I can see it. Maybe you can refund me, or we can work a deal out towards the back end of the season when I'm actually physically playing again. So you've got that full flexibility within the app to make it as flexible as needed for grassroots football is what we've tried to get in there. We have had a few extra enhancements have been suggested through us recently, especially around those fees where you can pay a little bit less per month and who can dictate that. And we have taken that away, and we're hoping to get something in hopefully shortly where the manager or the secretary can start to then say, actually, this person has been injured. Instead of full £10, they're just paying £5 for 2 months in a row without having to create a brand new payment structure and without having to go through the assigning process. So again, trying to speed up some of those administration processes that we currently have. So that's pretty much the app in general. Hopefully you've seen how easy it is for a manager to go and monitor payments, and then also as a parent of a player or as a player themselves, how easy it is to pay, whether that's via the guest checkout or via my PayPal account. So I'm going to do now, I'm just going to jump back off my phone and I'm going to jump back into the slide deck. So again, if you do see that screen that says your live event will continue in a moment, please do bear with me. While I just make sure that this is correct, and I believe it is now. So if I just go and click here. Hi, I'm Sam Yates from the FA's Technology. I've gone far too far by one step. So what I'm going to do now, I'm just going to make sure that Claire, you can see my screen because I know I've had problems for the last 2 days.
No, you're fine. You're fine.
Perfect. Thank you very much. So I'm now going to show you a very brief video. I'm going to hand over to myself actually on a bad day, which will talk you through how to set up a payment subscription or direct debit as a parent or as a player. Hi, I'm Sam Yates from the FA's Technology Adoption Team, and I'm going to show you how to easily set up your payments to be taken automatically using PayPal's subscription service within Matchday. Adult players and parents of youth players can easily set up their monthly subscriptions to be taken automatically by heading to the payment centre within the app. On the payment centre within the app, I click on annual fees, and I'm now presented with all the payment structures that my club has set up, whether that's a one-off fee or it's a monthly rolling fee. And you can see there we've got set up subscription. Tapping set up subscription will now take me to PayPal's login screen. I log in using my PayPal credentials, and once complete, it will take me back to the Matchday app, and you can see we now have, for a short-term, subscription pending. After a few moments, once your subscription has been confirmed, that button will show as cancel subscription. If you need to cancel the subscription at any time, it's as simple as tapping cancel subscription and then confirming when prompted. Should you need any further information, you can head to our website at www.thefa.com/matchday, or you can email us at grassrootstechnology@thefa.com. As you can see there, the FA's, shall we say, makeup department was off the day I had my on the day I recorded that video. So we're now going to go over to some FAQs before we go to the final Q&A. I'm conscious of we are running very low on time, but I'll fly through these as quick as I can. So how do you log into your whole game and Matchday accounts? It's just using your standard credentials, so your email address and your whole game system, or FA World now, email password. If you have forgotten your email address or your password, or you're not sure which email address is assigned to your account, when you come to log in, you will have both options of forgotten email or forgotten password. Do you have to have a PayPal account to pay? Already come up tonight, and as Claire mentioned, you don't. You can pay via the guest checkout or via cash. Obviously, we're trying to avoid cash going forwards, so it's up to you. But the PayPal side, if you have a PayPal account, it does save those vital seconds, which do add up across a season. Can you take a one-off payment? Of course you can. Hopefully I've showed you tonight that in my demonstration there was that one £10 sign-on fee as a one-off payment, but you might have them for kits or for a social or for whatever it might be. You can put one-off payments in. Can you pay referee, league or county FA? Currently no, but we're working on it, so please do bear with us. It's definitely something we want to open up to clubs via Matchday and the payments portal, so bear with us on that front. Can my pre-academy be added? So depending where you're in the country is how this is worded. So I know from my club we call it mini kickers, but anything that's like your, so we say 5 to 7 year olds who just come to train once a week. At the moment they can't be, but later this year they will be able to. You'll be able to add those training sessions for the younger ones onto whole game system, and then you'll be able to assign them payment structures within the payments portal as Claire showed you earlier, and then the parents can go and pay via the Matchday app. Can I use a personal PayPal account? As a club, we'd advise you don't. You set up a club PayPal account. From a player's perspective, you definitely can use your PayPal account to pay for your match fees. How is the money moved out of your PayPal account into maybe your club bank account? And does it cost anything? That can be done via your PayPal account. So if you go to paypal.com, you will be able to move your money, and it's completely free of charge. So the only fee you're paying is the transaction fee. So that will be taken from when a player or parent of a player has paid. That'll be taken out before it hits your account. But once it's hit your account, you can then transfer it to where it needs to go with no further cost. As Claire have already mentioned, I think I mentioned as well, who has access to the payments portal? That is your chair, your secretary, your treasurer, or any assistant secretary as well. And finally, can you add multiple PayPal accounts to a club? The answer is no. So the question we had this before was that each individual team within the club has their own account. Can that all go into one? Currently, no. It is just that one main account from the club. But hopefully, you've seen from the demonstration there, I can easily monitor my own team's payments and have full record of my own team's payments utilising the Matchday app. So that's a very quick fire FAQs. Claire, I don't know if we've had any questions in since I last spoke.
Yeah, no, we've had a few in, Sam, but I've answered most of them, but I've just haven't gotten around to 4 of them, so that we wonderfully could answer them. Can you email all parents via the app if you need to send a message to them?
Great question. Currently, no. It is something that's been fed back quite often over the last month or so. So it has been added to our backlog, and that our development team will look at as something in the future. But the only way that the app communicates with your parents is via push notifications. So if you do want to join the session tomorrow, you will see that a manager can put match details and full details of everything there. Players or parents of players can monitor and submit their availability, but there's no direct messaging, if you will, across the app.
Cool. So guest checkout or paying with a card option, does that charge the 1.4% fee?
Yes, it does.
Excellent. Excellent question this. If you added rolling subs, would they be charged as a full game or a sub?
That's a really, really good question. As it stands, they are charged as a sub. They're charged as a sub, so that discounted rates, because they've come off the pitch. So if you are doing rolling subs, which a lot of football is at the moment, especially grassroots, you may not use that the discounted fee for a sub. But again, that's completely up to you. But it is something that I can definitely feed back to our development team to mark as a rolling sub fee, if you will, as well. That's a really good point.
Mm-hmm. And the final question to come in, we've got an annual subscription. What about if somebody joins mid-season and only has to pay half fees? How do they do that?
Very good question. As Claire showed you the setup before, once the new player has arrived and you've registered them via whole game system, they will appear within the players listing, and you'll be able to assign the payment structure to that player. It will not backdate those payments to the start of the season. It will then charge them from where they are now to then go and pay. So if you, as Claire put £10 before, it will then charge me £10 per month for the rest of the season, or for however long I've been there for.
And what about if they've made a one-off payment? Would they just set up a new one, or?
Yeah, so yeah, you will. So for if you charge a one-off payment and you put your payment deadline as, say, the end of August, and this player joins you in September, you will just have to create that one-off fee once more, just for that player, or players if there's been a couple that have joined you in a flurry, and can assign that to those as a one-off fee.
Fantastic. Well, we've got no more new questions. I think everything else has been answered in the Q&A.
Brilliant. Thank you very much, Claire. So very briefly, as I mentioned, we do have a session tomorrow. So if you do want to find out everything Matchday does and how it all works, from managing match details to marking as a player, your availability, to being able to then report to your league, your match returns, or do it live so that people can watch live online, the results coming through, and also where to download it, which is the Google Play Store or the Apple App Store. You can find out far more about the wider functionality of the Matchday tomorrow evening, and we do have webinars throughout the rest of this month and August, and I'm sure there'll be more in September as well. You can keep an eye out on our channels for the booking form and how to log on to those. So you can join us on thefa.com/matchday. You can access our knowledge base, which takes you through how to do literally everything within the app and every question been asked so far, including our Matchday forum. So if you are interested in some of the new developments that are coming out into the app, and there is some more due, I'm going to say the early part of next week, hopefully the back end of this week if we're lucky. If you want to know what's coming into Matchday, you can join our forum at grassrootstechnology.thefa.com, or you can follow us on Twitter and engage in any conversations with us at FAGR Tech, the capital T, and we'd be happy to have you joining us on there. So finally, all I've got really left to say is just remember that we are modernising our technology to greater serve the game. We are very much listening to people, so if you do have any ideas, any suggestions for improvements, enhancements, please do get in touch. We do want to hear from you. All our systems are built with you in mind, and the more we know about you, the more we can make sure that we are catering for your needs as a club. So if you want to email us, just drop us a line at grassrootstechnology@thefa.com. All that's left for me to say is thank you so much for your time this evening. We hope you found it useful. Thanks to Claire as well for assisting me tonight. Very much appreciated. I hope you enjoy the rest of your evening. Hopefully we can watch Preston go on and finish the season with a win. Otherwise, thank you. Enjoy the rest of your evening. I'm sure we'll speak again very soon. Thank you.